Alright, we should be good. I'm gonna see how long I can deal with that being there. Holy pop filter. I can't find the piece that came with the zoom, so we have to use this obnoxiously large pop filter, so okay, I can't do this. I can't have this guy here. Jesus. What? So I didn't title this video, should you buy the GH6 in 2022 or anything like that, because ultimately I don't give a shit what camera you shoot on nowadays. I titled it why I'm not getting the GH6 from a GH5 user. At least that's what I think I'm gonna fucking title it. We'll find out when we get there. Because I have my GH5, and ultimately the GH6 just isn't enough for me to want to upgrade. When the S5 came out, I was like, that feels like a GH6. I've been using the GH5 for almost 5 years now. This November it'll be 5 years, and it's one of my most favorite cameras that I've ever used. I've used the Blackmagics, the 4K, the 6K. I've used Ursas. I've used a couple Reds. I've used, what else, some Sonys here and there. But I always find myself falling more and more in love with my GH5 with every camera that I use, because the price point for this thing and how easy it is to use, and that I don't have to rig it up a crazy amount. Like I'm looking at my Ronin over there right now. I rarely use my Ronin M. It's kind of annoying to use. I don't really like setting up my gimbals, my stabilizers, anything like that. Call me a lazy filmmaker. I don't care. But my thing is, sometimes when I'm on a time crunch, I'm more about practicality and just getting to the shot and doing what I need to do. Versus having to spend all the time on setup if it's not conducive for time and budget. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes it's me and 3 people, sometimes it's me and 10 people, whatever the case may be. This camera, this rig watch it. So some of the main reasons why I'm not getting the GH6 is because I feel like we already have the GH6. One of my buddies, Patrick Picasso, he said the same thing in one of his recent videos.
And what really made things complicated was the Lumix S5, because for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, the Lumix S5 is the GH6 that I've always wanted. And maybe this is a spoiler alert, but I still think that's the case.
And I couldn't honestly agree more. When I saw the S5 come out, I saw the specs, I've watched so many review videos, I've played with it myself. Pause. Granted, yes, the GH6 has specs that the S5 doesn't, and the S5 does have some specs that the GH6 doesn't. It comes down to whatever your needs are. It comes down to your budget, it comes down to your needs, and it comes down to your wants. Neither of them are bad cameras. It's hard for me to look at a camera on the market nowadays and be like, that's a shitty camera, right? Because there's so many good cameras, and all the cameras that are coming out have wonderful specs. Camera companies are doing such an incredible thing. You decide what your needs are. Are you a one-man bander? Do you heavily rely on autofocus? Just get whatever camera that you want, whatever your needs are, whatever resources you have or you don't have, whatever your budget is. If you're like, I have $2,200, I could go buy that GH6. If you want to do that, you can do that. But the reason that I'm not getting the GH6, it has nothing to do with full frame versus micro four thirds or anything like that. I like micro four thirds. My GH5 is micro four thirds. I've been using it for 5 years. I like full frame cameras. I've used full frame cameras. Ultimately, it's just the specs that are on the GH6 aren't enough to warrant me to want to get it. I do want the S5. I've played with the S5. I plan on getting it probably eventually, I'm not sure, but I'm not the type of person that just upgrades camera bodies constantly. What I decided to do in the past, I had like a mental shift in the past 3 to 4 years where I was like, okay, instead of buying the new camera body constantly, year after year, the new upgrades, or every couple years, I needed to upgrade my arsenal. I needed to get more C-stands. I needed to get light domes. I needed to get more lights. I needed to get more gear. I needed to get stuff to transport all that new gear to client shoots. So I prioritized building around my camera body to elevate my visuals and to elevate my productions to make them a lot easier to shoot, versus saying, oh cool, I have a new camera body, but then I have nothing else to really show for it when I pull up on set. That's not what I wanted. So the GH5, it does enough for what I need, and if it doesn't do enough for what I need, I just rent. I borrow a camera. If I need the Blackmagic 6K, I'll borrow that, or I'll rent it. If I need a Red, I'll rent that. The camera that I choose to use purely depends on the project and the budget and various other factors. I mean, I'm shooting this entire video on a T3i with the 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. I wasn't gonna say anything, I was just kind of testing it out to see what it would look like and see if anybody would notice, like, huh, that doesn't really look like his usual videos, but it's relevant to the topic and I want to bring it up. But what matters for me is, okay, I've got my C-stand, I've got the Aputure Amaran full brightness with a dome on it, diffusing the light on me so that way I have softer shadows and smoother skin tones. Cool. So if I didn't do that, this video would look like shit. It probably does look like shit. Who knows? I have no idea. I'll know when I edit this thing. But point being is, for me, I don't care about specs as much as I do the craft that goes behind what we do. So when it comes to lighting, when it comes to set dressing, things like that, is my video overexposed or underexposed? Is it framed right? How does the composition look? How is the depth in my video? How's the blocking of my actors or the talent? So I start to think about specs when I start to think about the shot that I need. If I want something dramatic like this, and he just slowly turns and the camera dollies back and he looks right into the I might want to shoot that in slow-mo. I don't know. That's a decision, a creative decision I might make in the moment. If I don't have a camera with slow-mo, it's not going to work out the way that I want it. If that's the shot that I want. I mean, I don't even shoot the highest frame rate possible on the GH5. I never go to 180. I don't. But one of you might, and that's fine. You might want 5.7K, you might want 300 frames per second, and that's completely okay. But the thing is, for me, a lot of times, and this is no shade on anyone, a lot of times when I see a lot of people obsessing over specs, they're like, oh my god, it shoots crazy slow-mo, oh my god, like it's 4K, 6K. The videos are improperly shot. They're not composed right, they're not framed right, they're overexposed, they're underexposed. Something is off about the video, like colors, maybe the export wasn't right, things like that. So it's like, and I make mistakes in videos all the time. I have plenty of faults. I can go look through every video that I've ever done and I can find a mistake. So my main thing is I just caution people and myself to hesitate and really think, do I need that camera? Should I upgrade to that camera, and why? This is not a video that is intended to shit on the GH6 or smear its name. Be like, don't upgrade to that camera. Don't you fucking upgrade to that camera. No, it's merely just to provide a perspective from a GH5 user like myself. I've used the GH5 for 5 years. Wow, I'm very comfortable in this position. I should have sat like this the whole time. I actually think the GH6, based on the videos that I've seen, based on the specs alone, it looks like a solid camera. For the price point and for the specs that you do get, my thing is, if you bought it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. You're not gonna be like, why the fuck did I buy this? In my opinion, if you come from Lumix cameras, I can't really speak from the perspective of someone coming from Sony to Lumix or anything like that, or Canon to Lumix, but I can speak from my perspective. I know if I bought the GH6, I wouldn't be unhappy, and that's me appeasing both sides, because I'm in the middle. I don't give a shit if you buy it or don't. This is just a GH5 user's perspective and insight, and I don't want to get into an argument or debate in the comments about how I'm a fucking idiot and I look like one of the criminals from Home Alone. So, the point being is, buy the camera that you want. Buy the camera that you also need, not just want. Really weigh your options and make intelligent purchasing decisions as far as your lenses, your lights, things like that. That's my opinion. That's all I have to say. I'm going to continue rocking out with the GH5 because God bless this camera. So that's it. That's all I have to talk about. I intended for this video to be like 2 minutes, and I just kept rambling a bunch of incoherent nonsense. So thanks for sticking with me this long. I appreciate it. It means the absolute world to me. Okay. All right. Peace out. Boom. Time to go. Running back to you. Sippy break. Sippy break. What the fuck? Audio speeds. Oh. filmmaker is sitting very tired.